worked with Anne-Marie, Nathan Dorr, Joel Corry, Ava Max, JJ, and because it changes so fast, like TikTok, when we started Affirmative, was not a thing. Just keep it on a level. Like, I think the most important thing is just you need to kind of just get it out of your head that they're this massively influential, like, person on a pedestal. It's all right to be proud of yourself and proud of being in the opportunity to meet people like that, but you've got to make sure that you keep it professional on a level.
Does he speak? You haven't got a mic for him, or
I haven't got a mic for him.
you haven't got a mic for him?
Yeah, he just will as well. I think he's already got it out of him, to be fair.
Yeah, he went a bit mental about 10 minutes ago.
Mate, any new guest that comes,
He just goes nuts.
he's just off on one.
You're just buzzing for a podcast. Right. Dialogue Discussions, episode
Well, what episode
4.
is this?
Episode 4.
We're a little bit all over the place with it, aren't we?
This will come out after 2 and 3. So today we've got, that's how 4 works. Today we've got Atlas, Danny Kewley. So,
Most important one.
well, he's been here a few times, mate. So we'll start with the new guest. So,
Lovely.
who are you, Danny? Who are you? What do you do?
So I'm Danny, and I'm a bit of everything, you know. I do video, graphic design, music. Yeah, just everything, content creation, really.
Yeah. So I know you just through Lincoln. Just obviously Lincoln's one of the cities where you just sort of know everyone.
Yeah.
And I've obviously seen you posting the videos that you edit. I've seen you mainly through your music videos with some pretty big people. For example, you've done KSI.
Yeah.
Who else? Tell us some of the best ones.
So I think the biggest people is JJ. We've worked with Anne-Marie. We've worked with Nathan Dorr, Joel Corry, Ava Max, Rita Ora recently. And yeah, there's quite a big long list of people. And it's quite weird as well. Like I kind of, it's still a little bit surreal,
Yeah.
even just naming names off like that. But it's kind of got to be a bit too normal, which I don't know if I like or not yet.
Who was the first one where you went, right, this is big?
No, like a turning point.
Yeah,
What was the first one you went, right, this is a...
I think it is the JJ one, the KSI one.
And what, did you play it cool well? Or did you give him a little bit of a fanboy?
I'd say for the first 10 minutes when I was in the same room with him, I did go through a fanboy stage in my head.
That would definitely have been you.
Just
Oh my God, me and my Be Real, please.
we met Nico and all of them like at their house, and I went, Nico, mate, you've got to do my Be Real.
And I'm there in the clip and just
He was Hayes. He was to shit. Great. He did that video for Barton. He called Barton. What did he call Barton on that Snapchat?
shook.
Yeah, he said, Thomas Barton, you're a little schmuck. So, mate, the thing is, when you meet them, you realise they're all just normal people.
Yeah, I bet you've come to that conclusion.
And that's what it is as well. Like, people think they're like this weird mystical character, but then when you meet them, it's like, oh, they're pretty much the same person.
They're just a normal human being.
They're definitely playing a character, though, aren't they?
Yeah, I like, especially with someone like JJ and the sort of audience that he has and the sort of stuff that he does. Him off camera is very, like, he's still the same person,
Just
but it's just toned down and just like a normal guy. You know what I mean?
How did you land the JJ stuff then? How did that all come about?
So, for just a bit of background, so the company I work for currently is Affirmative. So we're a media company that basically does everything music related. So work with artists, labels, that sort of stuff. And we started doing work originally for Nathan Dorr, and then Nathan landed as single with JJ, and then through then, we then got asked to do behind the scenes content and social content for that track, and then that led to doing the album artwork for the track, loads of like other bits like lyric videos and basically all the stuff you need to release a track other than the actual music video itself. We pretty much did. I think that was the biggest turning point personally for me as well, when I realised, oh, this is actually so sick. Like, I love what I do, and I've now got myself to a position where I'm working with this like incredible people and like these massive artists that people had dreamed to just have a conversation with. So it is kind of surreal, and I enjoy it so much. I feel so blessed, you know what I mean?
So was it uni or college, or when did you start getting into sort of, should we call it like the media?
Yeah, let's take it back. How did we get to where we are now?
Right.
How did we get
How
back?
far back do you want me to go?
What day was you born on, and what star sign?
No, like
The hospital I was born in, the time
when
exactly.
did you get interested in like camera stuff and the visual effects side of it? Was it in like secondary school, or did you go to college, or?
Yeah, so I think it was mainly probably so primary school. I didn't even write this down before the pod. I've just suddenly thought of it now. That in primary school, my dad had this old video camera, like a really old Sony tape recorder, and I remember making like videos with like Lego figures and like setting out little scenes and stuff.
But like stop motion.
Like sort of like a stop motion one, but without the stop motion. So you'd see everyone's hands and people's voices. It was very very rudimentary. I must have been super young doing that. I think that was my first introduction to like cameras and stuff. And then when I then got to high school, that's when I found a passion for like, I wanted to be a YouTuber. I wanted to get my own camera, do my own videos. I started off doing like gaming stuff on YouTube, like
We've all
a lot
been
of people do.
I've got comments on YouTube.
But I started with that, and then I then started working for a YouTube network, doing customer service, which was an experience to say the least. And then that kind of I then took that into doing photography in nightclubs. Then I moved to Lincoln, because I'm originally from Leeds, and then started doing more club photography and being a bit of a promoter and selling tickets and stuff while I was at uni.
I've recognised you from the nightclub taking photos.
Yeah.
That's where I remember your face from, definitely.
I think that's probably where we first met.
Yeah.
Something to do with that, yeah.
What year was this then that you were doing the nightclub photos?
Oh my God, that's a long time ago now. So probably the nightclub photography stuff I started back in Leeds was probably 2016, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe 2015, yeah.
Would you have done Circle?
No, this was back in Leeds.
Oh, right. Did you do from in Lincoln, though?
So the ones in Lincoln as well, Circle was still open.
Yeah.
So I worked a lot with the Lovedo guys.
Yeah.
And then became a promoter for them. And then that's how I met my boss and the guy that I work with at Affirmative now, just all through the event stuff.
So that was already established then, Affirmative was already going?
It was, well, the event side of the business with all the student events and all the other stuff that I got involved in, that was operating, that was cushy at the time. And then we moved, he wanted to move slowly more into the media side of stuff. And then I sort of got involved with that. And then Affirmative kind of like grew naturally, sort of from his side, and then I started getting more involved and putting my 2 pence in and saying, I can help you with this, let's do this, let's speak to these people. Got more clients, then landed some really good first jobs with like Atlantic Records, and then it kind of just grew from there. But yeah, that's kind of how I got there, yeah.
And is it your boss's Dummy?
Dummy, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously
sound guy.
I don't know him personally, but he seems like such a guy that just does so many things. Obviously, when you're both creative and you can bounce off each other, it's sort of like what me and Alex do. It just helps you get things going so much more when you've got an brain to just bounce it off against.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, he's my best mate both out of work and in work. Like, we have such a good working relationship, and we're so similar with like where we want to go and what we want to do. And the guy is super talented, man.
Yeah.
Super talented. And I do owe a lot of like where I am to him as well. So like, respect to him, yeah.
When your aspirations align, that's like a recipe for doing well. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. I think as well, like, when I finished uni, I was kind of not skeptical of what we were doing at the time, but I was very scared.
Yeah.
Because it's like taking that jump from being at uni and then going into full-time work and doing everything yourself. And at that time, I was just a freelancer completely. And I had my own taxes to do and everything. So I was like, that's the first time I'd have to basically afford to live.
Was that scary?
Well, you have to put all your faith into.
You have to put all your faith into what you're doing. So I was like, if I suddenly leave uni now and don't go back to Leeds, and I sign for a new house for a year, I've got to make sure I can afford this for a year, regardless of what I'm doing. So like, if this fails, I need to be prepared to go find another job and do the other stuff. I think that was the scariest bit. And it's gone from living with my parents, being at uni where I've got a bit of a student loan and a bit of a backup, to then completely living life by myself. And I think that was the jump into the deep end that I think I needed to push myself into where I wanted to go. So I think otherwise I don't know what I'd be doing now, but I won't be.
You've got to put yourself in uncomfortable positions to make them sort of moves. Like you just sit there thinking, "Oh, I'm comfortable now. I've got it easy. I'm da 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 da." You'll just keep plodding along. You've got to chuck yourself into them sort of out of the cuff experience where you've got not as much of a backup. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, all eggs in one basket type of thing.
Yeah.
I think that was the one with me where it was just like I took like a gap year and thought, right, I'm going to focus on YouTube now, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And that was my biggest risk back in the day. But I think the big risks are the ones that always are going to pay off the most. Obviously, you said you're super happy with, how things are going now, and everything seems like ace, and it's all going well.
High reward, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that's the takeaway, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So when you're obviously doing the content and whatnot for them, do they reach out to you? Do you already have relationships with them? Is it like a contract thing where they use you solely? Like, how does it work?
So the majority of the work comes through labels. So I think we've got ourselves to a position now where we've got really, really good relationships with people in the industry and different companies like Atlantic Records, BMG, Universal, companies like that they need like creative content for so many new releases. Like there's so many tracks. You don't realize how busy the industry is until you jump into it.
Yeah.
And there's like, you might have one person working on might be a market manager working on like 5 tracks that come out on the same day, and they're juggling all these different projects. So that's kind of where we come in and we go, look, we can handle the creative side of it. Let us know what you want. We can come up with some ideas as well. And it's kind of become a bit of like a sort of like a factory as that, if that makes sense. So if they've got a release coming up, they'll contact us and go, look, we need this. These are the ideas that we've got. Can you add to that? What can we do to make this release bang, essentially? So that's kind of, a lot of it goes all through the label.
Everyone plays their part in the step-by-step sort of process.
So would you go to them then and say something like, this is what we can do? Or is it a case of them coming to you and saying, this is what we want?
It's a bit of both, I'd say. So there's times where they're very sort of particular on what specifically they want asset-wise. And they might go, okay, we want this video, we're going to shoot this performance of this. It needs to look like this. Here's a reference. Can you do it? Whereas other times it'll be like, okay, so we've got this song coming out. We think we want these things. We need some more ideas. Like, what can you guys offer? Or let's put a day together where we put you and the artist together, and then we go to the studio and just film loads of TikTok content or film loads of other bits of content.
Brainstorming.
Just brainstorm loads of cool stuff.
So would it, if you get something finished, how would you normally give it to them and they'd be like, yeah, that's it? Or will they come back to you and say, this needs changing, this needs changing? Are people more particular than others?
Yes and no. There's some projects where you can send it off straight away, just approved, and you're like, wicked.
Yeah. Is that down to the artist or the label?
A lot. So because there's so many people that have to see, like, say, a video for like an artist as big as the ones that we work with. There's like, there might have to be 15 different people that have to see this video before it goes out. So it'll go to the first person that commissioned the job, and they'll go, love it, I'm just going to send it for approval. And then it'll go to management, and management will have their take on it. The artist will have their take on it. Then the artist's friends might watch it and they go, oh, we don't like that. And then it'll come back to us and go, oh, so-and-so said this, change this. Like, some projects can go weeks of changes just because there's so many people. Like, it's too many cooks in the kitchen, essentially. Yeah. But a lot of the time, all these little mini changes that they all ask for that take a lot of time, when you've done them all and you get to the end product, you're like, oh, I see, it was worth the time now. But yeah, it varies. It just depends on who the artist is and sort of who the label is and who you're working with.
So as a creative yourself then, do you get a bit like, sort of when you get a change back?
Yeah, you do. I think I'm used to it now. But at the start, it was very, not demotivating, but it was like,
no, I know what you mean.
I thought I'd created something amazing, and then someone goes, oh, I don't like this bit, and you're like, oh, I love that bit.
Literally, I bet as well, you sort of think like, I've been doing this for quite a while, I should know well, but at the same time, you can't get yourself in that mindset of, well, it's a product for them, they're purchasing a product.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, they're spending their money on it, and it's their product, as you said, so they've got to be happy. So, and there has been some things that may have gone out that I'm not 100% happy with, but I've had to sort of change what I was happy with just to fit the client's needs, which is it's a part of just the job, essentially.
Is there one that you've done where you finish it, you go, that was amazing, like your most proud sort of project, your sort of baby that you've enjoyed the most?
Your baby.
But yeah, to be fair, a lot of my work, a lot of the time, I'll treat it like literally like a newborn child. Sometimes I'm so protective over it. But I think the most recent thing is probably the new KSI track, Easy. So we got commissioned to do the artwork for that. So I was creative director for that artwork and what the release would look like. Then
Was that cover art? Sorry,
cover art. Yeah. So then we commissioned an illustrator, and we went back and forth with different like sketches and ideas and stuff. And JJ had some cool ideas that he was sending back through the label, and then kind of put some ideas together. Then came up with the artwork in the end. And then I turned that artwork into a lyric video, and then social assets and all the other stuff. And then once all that went out, I was like, okay, this is one of the coolest projects that I've done, and I was super, super happy with it.
How'd you go from artwork to lyric video?
Oh, good question.
Is it just the style of it?
Yeah, like say if it's just so basic, but say like it's got a brick purple background as the album cover, you'll go, okay, I'll take that element and put it in the lyric video as the background of the lyric video, and you'll take the same font, same colours, that sort of thing. As long as it looks similar to the artwork,
Same vibe.
yeah, and fits within the campaign.
Would you say you sort of specialise into your own sort of style? Like do you feel like you're going towards like, this is my sort of editing niche, or do you try to keep every single one very different and very varied? Because obviously people have like their own speciality, like, you know what I mean?
I think there's a lot of times where I'll I think at the moment, lyric videos are the things that I'm doing the most, and that's taking up the majority of my time at the moment. And I'd say every time I start a new one, I always start with the basic project I set it up exactly the same as I set up every lyric video. So in that kind of sense, the workflow and some of the effects and things that I'll use are very much the same, and I like keeping it as to my style.
Yeah.
But then you kind of have to change up into loads of different styles to match the artwork or to match what the artist wants. Because a lot of the time they'll send a reference to something already existing that might be completely different than the artwork, and then you have to go, right, okay, shall we try and combine the two ideas and try and make something that's going to fit, like, or are we just going wild and just creating something completely random? And we have done that before, and it's worked. So
you've done. I saw you did Brucey.
Yes.
What was it that you did for him?
So he was working with Nathan Dorr again, for Oh Baby. So we went to the music video shoot. So Troy Roscoe was directing that. Sound guy, an amazing director as well. So we did behind the scenes for that. We did behind the scenes video and photography. And then I did the lyric video for that. What else did I do? All the social assets. And then we did like visualizers and other stuff with, so like Mist came into the studio to do like a remix. So we filmed Mist and put that into a creative piece of content for YouTube.
What's a visualizer?
Okay, so a visualizer is basically a lyric video without the lyrics.
Okay.
So just something like a piece of content that looks cool.
Does it move to the beat?
Yeah.
Like a visualization of the beat or something?
Yeah. I'd say that's the one thing in our industry that no one really knows what it is, because it can be so many different things. Like like some people call certain types of music videos visualizers.
Really?
So like you might go, okay, we don't want a music video, and they'll come up with a brief and they go, oh, we want to shoot this visualizer, and in your head you're like, pretty sure that's a music video. But
does it like tell a story? Does it sort of like tell a story in a way?
So that's what a music video should do, really. Not all the time, but a lot of the time it will follow like a narrative, right? And then sometimes you might get like a music video that's just loads of cool random shots. It doesn't have a narrative, so it's just called a visualizer, but it is technically a music video.
Okay.
And I think there's so many things that we create and so many things that we don't really know what to name them sometimes.
Yeah.
That we'll create something for TikTok or like an Instagram advert, and you can call it an Instagram advert, but it doesn't seem like an advert.
Yeah.
And you have to try and word it to the client and go, oh, we're going to create this. Don't know what to call it, but it's going to involve this.
Because there's sort of like all technicalities, like that's a word for this and it's in the contract.
And they can almost cross over a little bit.
Yeah, like everything crosses over.
Yeah.
Like that's the... And because it changes so fast. Like TikTok, when we started Firmative, was not a thing. And we were just shooting every single video we did was wide.
Yeah.
And now we go on a shoot for the same stuff, we're shooting everything portrait.
What do you think about the transition from, because everything was, I mean, back in the day, everything was, when I was vlogging, everything was landscape. And now it's like people are doing like 50 days on Instagram, 50 days, 50 vlogs. You call them vlogs, but they're portraits, so they're not vlogs to me.
No, yeah.
It just seems a bit, what do you think of the new social craze and reels and everything like that?
I love it, but I hate it for creativity sometimes. Like, if we go out and shoot something, all I want to do is shoot wide, and I want to shoot something that looks like cinematically sick. But then as soon as you turn the camera around, you have to shoot portrait. I just feel sometimes like you're really, really restricted, and you can't. That sometimes you'll shoot wide at a shoot, and then we'll go, "Oh, can you just make the video portrait?" And you're like,
"So
we can, but it's not going to look great."
Do you have a separate workflow then for that, or do you shoot with it in mind all the time, or
depends what the brief is? Sometimes they won't tell you that they want it in, like it's going to go out in real or portrait, and we'll just shoot wide, and that's how it starts. But then they'll go, "Oh, can we cut loads of real content from it?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "We can, but it wasn't shot with that in mind."
It wasn't the original goal.
So now, at pretty much every shoot we go on, that's the first question we get when we get on set. We're like, "Do you definitely want this in wide, or do you want it in portrait?"
Sellotape a phone to a camera.
We literally just bought a rig, and funny you say that. Every time I shoot now, I have my phone recording on portrait, even if we're not going to use it, just in case they suddenly randomly go, "Oh, we really want that for TikTok. Can you edit it down?" And I'll just go, "Oh, well, I've got the phone clip of that as well." And they'll go, "Oh, really? When did you get that?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Well, there's my invention contract.
Oh, the invention contraption. I love that. Nice. So basically what you're saying is that if the brief says it needs to be filmed in vertical, you will film it, like for social media, you'll film it separately.
Yeah, if we know the only piece of content that's going out is vertical, we'll shoot it vertical.
What about both?
Both will usually shoot wide and crop to vertical.
So you wouldn't have like okay, this is the camera for the wide stuff, and this is going to be the vertical camera, or the phone that shoots the vertical stuff.
It depends whether the same piece of content is going to be used on multiple platforms. So if we're shooting one thing that is going to go on both, say, YouTube as a wide, and it's going on TikTok, and it's the same piece of content, just shorter or something, then we'll shoot wide, and then we'll cut in for TikTok.
Motion back.
Yeah. But if there's a specific piece of content that we need on wide and specific things that are just for TikTok or for Instagram or whatever, then we'll make sure we always film it in portrait. But the worst thing is, you can film wide and cut down to portrait, but then as soon as you then turn your camera around and shoot vertical, they can't then go, "Oh, we just need an advert of that for YouTube." And you're like, well,
you can't crop into a vertical.
You can't crop into a vertical. Do you know what I mean? And that's the most annoying thing.
So do you feel like it makes you less creative? Because at the end of the day, it literally only is turning the camera that way, nothing changes. But speaking from my experience, I feel like filming in landscape 16:9 or however you do it, even with black bars or whatever, that's my sort of cinematic. That's my cinematic look, and that's how I've always. And I found it really difficult when all these reels and TikTok started to become popular.
I said it to you, didn't I? And I said we need to do short form. You said I don't really like it.
I don't like it. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
What I was going to say is that it's such an advantage in a way that you can push things massively because it's going to reach so many more audiences at a quick amount of time and redirect to you wide.
Yeah, but for cinematic people, which I'm sure you can relate to, it just seems a bit like,
we're having this discussion at work at the moment about, like, do we like short form? Because we shoot it and we make short form content, but we're always way more proud of all the long form stuff that we do. And I don't think that's ever going to change just because the way we started with how we, like, what we were filming when we started and how we began, and the sort of stuff that we love to shoot is all wide and it's all fancy looking stuff. So then as soon as someone goes, "Oh, don't bother bringing your camera to the shoot, just bring you and your phone," I'm kind of like, I'll do that, but I don't want to do that. Yeah. I want to shoot it.
Do you feel like you're almost cheating a bit?
Yeah.
Short form.
It's exposure, doesn't it? No one's got the attention span anymore.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's got the attention span of the peak.
Mate, everyone's got undiagnosed ADHD, mate. 100% everyone. Everyone's got it. No, I'll say it.
Everybody's just got ADHD.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thanks. Nice. That makes me feel bad.
So what I do want to ask is there an artist that you would love to do a music video, or even just a genre that you think I'd love to do like a video for that?
Ooh. I mean, I worked with him. No, well, not directly, but I've worked on things associated with him before, but not anything major, and that was Ed Sheeran.
Oh, wow.
So that was really, really cool. But I'd love to do more content with him.
What did you do with him?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Would you like to know?
I would, yeah. That's unreal, mate.
So yeah, so he's just done his new tour, and this was a couple of months back now, and it was when he was releasing Eyes Closed, and it was the first time he ever performed it live on stage, and he wanted to basically live stream it on Instagram during the show. So we got contacted to basically go down and stream it while it was happening, and that was quite a surreal, like being able to be in the pit for his concert and filming like directly with his Instagram. I'm like, this is weird, but I'd love to do more stuff with him.
Posted a selfie on his Instagram.
What was the setup?
Yeah, imagine if.
What was the setup, mate, that you had going on there? Like, how did you get the feed into Instagram, and like what equipment were you using? And I assume obviously it was in vertical.
Phone.
Yeah.
Or was it just the phone? Was it just a
Literally just filming on a camera and a phone, so I had both, and then we could also then supply the full nice camera shot in vertical at the end as well.
proper stuff?
So yeah.
Okay, that's sick.
But it's annoying because it's like you look at the live stream and you're like, it's wicked, but it's filmed on a phone. But then I'll watch the video that I've shot on my camera, goes back to the same thing, and I'm like, that looks so good because it was filmed on a camera and it looks really cinematic, even though it was vertical. But it was as cinematic as you could make a vertical video. And it's like, we could have streamed the camera footage, but then it's not as raw.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So people will like...
People want the phone on.
People want the raw.
Was there any like deliverables for that then? Was there like, it needs to be like this, or was it just basically just try and stream this live to the best of your ability?
It was literally just that. Just make sure we get the track. We had audio running from the sound desk as well, so it was what was basically coming out of his mic and his guitar. Well, like his like little loop station that he has on stage. Yeah.
Obviously, massive name. Who else have you got under the belt, if you like?
I think another person that, I mean, I'm a massive fan of her, and she's probably my guilty pleasure, is Ava Max.
Okay.
And I don't know whether it's because she's not a UK artist, and I just have like a massive appreciation for US artists as well. But we've done quite a lot of work for her with like advertising and social content and other little bits and bobs. And I think that's something that I'm quite proud of. And I did get to meet her at like this brunch thing in London last year, which was definitely a fanboy moment. That was
Eyes wide sort of thing, just like,
yeah. When you sort of like, and at that point I've been with loads of different artists, and I kind of got used to being in that scenario. But that was the first time since I started where I was just like, oh my God, I'm in over my head here.
Yeah.
But you kind of just have to block out the fact where you are and just carry on filming and do the job that you're there to do. Really.
You might keep the professional sort of head on.
Yeah.
See.
So has it all been in the UK that you've done so far?
Pretty much all in the UK. I mean, we've flown to like Ibiza to shoot Nathan Doyle, and done a couple of little bits and stuff like that. But the majority of the stuff at the moment is in the UK.
So in Ibiza, was that all around Ibiza, or was it mainly like one place? Or
so Nathan's got like a set everywhere. He's pretty much been doing it I think he's doing it this year again. It's the same as last year. He does Ibiza Rocks as a residency.
Oh yeah.
So when his new tracks comes out, he basically wanted to. It's 21 Reasons, I think. We basically went there and filmed like a TikTok music video that was full length of the track, taking loads of phone footage and taking GoPro footage and other people's phone footage, and we will go around to people in Ibiza Rocks like going, just record something on your phone, getting people to airdrop their Snapchats and stuff, and just collated all this massive amount of like phone footage.
So it looks raw from.
So it looks raw, yeah.
It was this random guy going around the club asking for everyone to airdrop his video.
That's what it was like. And one of the guys, Dan, that came out with us, we wanted shots of like from in the pool with a GoPro, but obviously I didn't really fancy getting in the pool, if I'm honest, and I wasn't there to have a holiday, so I was like, I don't fancy jumping in the pool. So we all just like looked at Dan and went, I suppose you're going in the pool with a GoPro. So he was going around asking like random people, just, pick up this GoPro and just film yourselves with it. And everyone was like, what on earth is this?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until then when Nathan came on and announced to everyone that we're filming his music video that everyone was kind of like, oh, so that's why there's like 4 guys running around trying to get random people's Snapchats and phones. And
so it's one of those music videos that's like, it doesn't look like it's sort of choreographed. It's just
random,
yeah. I see. Okay.
Like you at the summit and then walking around with an A7X in the nightclub, and was like, what is he doing?
Oh god, that was a bit awkward, to be fair.
That was good though. It turned out well.
Definitely won't be a good club photographer as you, mate. There's no way.
You used to do club photography?
No, we just ran this event
In Lincoln.
was it last
On Halloween.
Last October on Halloween, yeah. And I obviously got some nice cameras, so it was my job to go around and take photos. And I remember I had a flash, but the lens was like, it casted a shadow on everybody. So I don't really know the way around that. What did you just point the flash in the air, or like what do you do?
Yeah. God, it's been a long since I've done club photography because it's so dark. It's actually cool. Club photography is actually quite difficult.
Everything came out ghostly white.
Honestly, I thought it was going to be so easy. Just click the button, snap, and then all the photos were either overexposed, underexposed, and I was just like, oh my god, put me back in my place.
Weirdly, one of the things I got taught when I was in Leeds, I mean, I don't even know if this is like a go-to thing for club photographers to do, but I always had my flash pointing behind me.
Really?
So rather than pointing it at your subject, you have it pointing like at the roof or like sort of like behind you. And you wouldn't think if it had a diffuser on the end, but you wouldn't think that, you think it'd be really directional and it wouldn't like light anyone up, but it just softens all the light. And even if you've got like a black ceiling, it sort of
Reflects
to explain. Yeah, it just reflects the light off it.
Yeah, it's like it's just using everything around you as like a diffuser, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Talking about equipment, then obviously you don't necessarily shoot music videos per se, but what are you turning up to a shoot with? What equipment is it? Is it Firmative's equipment, or do you have your own gear that you use? And
so, because I've been a freelancer until I went full time with Firmative this year, actually, I've got all my own equipment. So at the moment, I'm shooting with an A7S III.
Okay,
love it. It's my baby. Shooting on these right now. Great cameras. And gimbal, microphone, monitor, phone mounts. Is anything else in my camera?
Using DJI for your gimbals and stuff like that. Yeah,
love DJI stuff. And I think that's probably like the basis of what I take with me.
Any drones?
I was about to say, you're going to get some drones.
Got a Mini 3 Pro as well.
Okay,
they're wicked.
Any reason for the Mini? Just laws.
Just laws. Yeah, that's literally all it is. It just makes it so much easier, and because things are so last minute as well, especially in our industry. Like, we've got a single coming out next Friday. We need this shot. It's like, oh my god. Like, okay, but if we had to then go through the rigorous process of going, right, okay, in order to shoot with this really heavy drone and get something really cinematic and do this and stuff, it's just nice to have something so small and light that doesn't really have that many restrictions on it. So I can literally just whip it out. As long as I'm insured on it, it's...
And you've got your pilot's license displayed on it with a little...
Yeah, I'll have your little stickers.
Yeah, it's all changed, doesn't it? It's a bit nuts. I mean, I used to fly in Inspire. I mean, this is 2016.
Yeah.
To be fair, definitely looking back, obviously I was a lot younger and didn't really care much about the law, but looking back, I'm thinking, oh my God, you should not have done that. But I would like... I mean, I got done. Where did I go? To New Zealand. And the police followed me round and ended up getting fined 500, whatever the New Zealand currency is. Because I took it through Auckland, like through a massive... like city street in Auckland, and I was just flying this massive Inspire, like I say, back in the day. Wasn't even thinking about, what could happen through doing it, or it falling on anybody's head.
The big drones.
Yeah, like massive, maybe kill somebody if it fell on them. Like, do you know what I mean? And I was flying it through.
Battery.
Luckily enough, the tech on them's that good though, aren't they? Like, they return to home and stuff, and they're pretty decent, aren't they? If you lose signal or anything. Do you take them everywhere then, the little drones?
Pretty much. Like, I've always got it in my bag just in case. Although the one thing, I nearly had a crash the other day, and I was on I was shooting like a little beach festival literally last weekend, and it was so windy.
That's
No, it was in Western-super-Mare, which is so far away. It's so random. But we were shooting there, and the wind was like 20, and I think they're rated for like 23. So it was right on the edge of like me not being able to control it, and there were so many times I took it up and I literally just couldn't bring it back down.
Is that when you're trying to bring it back to you and it's just not moving?
And it's just going the opposite direction. I'm like, oh,
Hey.
that's it. I'm gone. It's gone.
Your heart drops, doesn't it? Because you just think that's it.
And then there's seagulls everywhere.
Trying to get it.
So I think the thing with seagulls, right, flying at the beach, is the fact that I couldn't launch it until they'd all just like fuck off, and it was so annoying because I'd be like, right, I need to get this drone shot or something, and then I'd look up and they're just swarming everywhere, and I'm like, once I get it high enough, they're not going to even touch it. But if I start like ascending and something swoops into it, that's, you know what I mean? That's the drone.
Have you ever had any bird attacks then through?
Nearly. I had one in Lincoln last year.
I think it happens a lot more than you think it would. I thought the birds would be all like scared shitless of it.
It's they do one or two things. They either attack it, thinking it's another bird, or they're really scared of it and they'll just like get out of the way of it. But because they're so small and so quiet, like they're not as scary as they're probably were before.
Horn.
I've driven one once, haven't I? And
one.
I flown one once. I crashed it into a telephone wire.
Was that one of mine? Was
Yeah,
that
yours.
Oh, for God's sake.
How I hit a telephone wire, I have no idea.
Oh, we were out in the Defender, weren't we?
Yeah. What was it as well?
It was a Mavic Pro, I think. Not cheap drone.
Yeah, just straight out of the sky.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think it was insured. It broke the gimbal. I just sent it off and got it sorted.
That's all right.
Any
So bad.
Any FPV? Are you into FPV
I
or?
really want to get into it, but just
It's an expensive rabbit hole.
that's what I mean. I think as soon as I start, I'm gonna want everything then,
Yeah.
and I don't want to like make the jump until I'm actually ready to like do it
The
properly.
DJI FPV drones are a great way in because it's less than the normal FPV stuff. It's almost like a bit DIY.
Yeah.
Whereas you put a transmitter on it, you put your own FPV camera on it, and then you can either put a GoPro or whatever actual filming camera you want on it. Whereas the DJI ones, they have all the niceties like the return to home and the auto leveling. If you find yourself in like a precarious situation, you just click auto level and it just stops. Because obviously with a normal FPV drone, it's FPV in it, so it's just like, well, it doesn't just hover.
No.
You know what I mean? With a normal drone, you just take your hand off it and it will just sort of level itself out and happy days. But with the FPV stuff, it is literally, if you're going down, it keeps going down. Yeah, that is it, gone.
You filmed me driving your Defender, didn't you, over that hill with one? Like swoop.
Yeah. They're the swoopy ones. They're awesome. They're cool.
Hard to fly.
I wouldn't let you have a go. I don't think I let you have a go, did I? Because they really are.
No, you did. I crashed it in about 2 seconds. So you said you're not using it anymore.
You're not having a go now. See, yeah. How much of my equipment have you broken, Mitch?
Just those two. There, just so.
Well, I was about to say,
I was just going to say I was gutted because the week that I bought my Mini 3 Pro was literally the week. Well, I think it was like 3 weeks before the Avata got announced,
Oh, really?
and I was a bit annoyed. And I was like, wish I'd literally waited.
Do you reckon you'd have gone for it?
And I'd probably gone for that instead.
it happens with everything.
But it's not as light, and it doesn't go under the 250 grams thing.
So does the Avata not?
Don't think it does. I think it's slightly over. It's like 3 something.
I don't know, but that's blown my mind if it has, because it is a small. I've got one and they are small. I thought they were under 250. Maybe I've been flying it in places.
Maybe I've
been flying it.
So festivals.
Yes.
He's done some festivals. What festivals have you done?
So the biggest one we work with really closely at the moment is Loose Fest in Newcastle. We're really good friends with the people that run it, and they've got close ties with the events that we've done in the past, like Love Dough and stuff as well. So we create like social content and stuff throughout the year for them, and then we go and send like a massive. I think we had, how many people do we have? 6 or 7 video crew with photographers and everything last year. And basically just shot every single act, every stage, everything. Terabytes and terabytes of footage to go through the end, which was a lot.
So what's the deliverables for a full blown festival?
festival.
What do they say to you at the get go? We want you to X, Y, and Z.
So usually you got one big after movie, like that's what every festival wants. And then, for example, the way we did it is, because it was a 2-day festival, we did like a small recap the evening of the first day, so everyone could see what had happened throughout that day, the same day. Then we did the same on the second day as well, and then shortly after that we then edited the full after movie that included a combination of everything that had happened at the festival. So they get sort of like little mini teaser bits of content that come out straight away, like during the festival, and then they'll have a big wow after movie to then help write the next one, for example, for the next year.
See, okay.
Those are the main deliverables, I'd say.
Um,
And then obviously photography is just
Yeah.
like big albums and everything.
And would do you think they'd have artists ask? Could an artist then ask for specific bits for him and whatnot or her?
Yeah, there's quite a few artists that will go. They'll sort of come through. They'll come to us and go, "Oh, how can we get the footage, or how can we get this?" Obviously, it's kind of respectful to then go, "Oh, we'll speak with the festival because they're paying us at the end of the day." And usually it'll be then that the festival will get all the footage and they'll get everything, and then they'll pass it on to the artist that ask.
Do you pass all the terabytes of raw data to them as well, or do you just send them the final piece?
Depends. Like if it's in the budget and they're wanting that, then they want to sort of get their own editors, or just if they'll edit certain things themselves and edit for social and whatever it is. A lot of the times they'll ask for the footage and they just want it banked. So if they want to promote the next one and we're not around or we're not available to help, say, create more content for them the following year, it's good that they've got a massive bank of content. Whereas it's kind of at the same time, unless we've got a really good budget and if we've got a really good relationship with them, it can be a bit like daunting sending all that to someone, because it's like, well, if I'm sending you all of my raw data and my raw clips, then I'm kind of out of a job then if you want to edit a video from it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if I've got it all and you ask me for another video edit, that's another job for me. So in a selfish way, it's not always the best idea
to keep it,
to give you raws and you.
So would you charge more? Because I feel exactly the same way. You feel like you just selling what you've taken, basically what your raw stuff. So would you then charge more for that?
Yeah, you'd make sure that it was included in. A lot of the times everything's packaged.
It'll say what's included.
Yeah, so that we'd know way ahead of the festival whether they're going to get it or not. And if they ask after the fact, then that's another conversation to have if it wasn't discussed.
Yeah.
But usually that's a conversation that way before when we get booked originally. So, but the worst thing is grades. If someone else uses your footage and you shot it a certain way,
yeah,
and you've got a grade you want to use on it, and then you give someone your raw footage, and then they edit something or use a different editor, and they put a really bad grade or the edit's not great or something.
Yeah.
And then they might credit you as the videographer or the company that's done it, and it's like
it looks bad on you.
It looks bad on us because it's not. That's not what it's what we shot, but it's not what we edit.
So a lot of the time you shoot to edit, don't you? That's
exactly
that's the case with it. And then what you're saying is if you shoot it, but then somebody else edits it and puts a crap grade on it, it looks bad from you because you're the one that shot it and then credited for shooting it.
Exactly.
I see. Yeah, I know. I've been in situations like that where people have asked for the raw clips, and I just feel like no, because this is like, I don't know whether it's me behind the camera messing about or and I've left it filming. I don't want people seeing that. I just want to give them the final things.
And I've sometimes there's times where like I'll forget to go, like what I should do really. I'll go through all the raw clips before we send the footage off, so there's nothing embarrassing.
Yeah.
But then you can't help it if you press record and you're having a wild conversation off camera that can still hear you, and then you go into an amazing clip of a stage. You can't just then go, right, I'm going to edit that raw clip down. It doesn't like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't do that. So
safe,
we can, but it's just so long. So it's a bit like you need to be super careful. If you know you're giving your raw footage over, when you press that record button, everything
they're going to see it.
They're going to see and hear everything. So if you were at a festival and you didn't like I don't know, say you hated one of the acts, and then that got put into a folder with that act's name on it, and the festival then send that to the art. Yeah, exactly. And then they're just watching all these raw clips of their performance, and the cameraman behind it's just going, "Oh, these guys are shit." It's like you got to be really careful of stuff like that because you don't really think of it when you film it. You're just looking at what it looks like, and not what you're saying behind the camera.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Still fix it up.
Well, sum it up.
Yeah.
What is some advice you've got for aspiring editors? What would you tell them if you could tell them anything?
Or creatives.
Yeah, creative.
As a general.
Anytime, yeah.
I think the most important thing is to always make sure that you're doing something that you love and that you enjoy. Because the worst thing is just going, oh, I want to be a YouTuber because I want to be famous. I want to get money. I want to have an audience. I want people to see me and be popular.
I want to be liked.
Yeah, I want to be liked. Or I want to be massive on TikTok and I want this and I want that. You need to go to the root of why you want that. If you want it just for the clout or for whatever and the status of having it, then you shouldn't be doing it. And I think everyone said that about YouTube since it began. But I think it's more essential nowadays because everyone wants to be a YouTuber, a TikToker, social media influencer, and everything. You've got to hone it in, and you only do it if you actually really love doing it and you've got a passion for it. Because those are the people that succeed in it.
You need to enjoy the process, not
Yes,
beg for the end goal. You need to enjoy actually doing it, because that's probably the only reason that you was able to stick it out for as long as you did, because you probably enjoyed.
Yeah, well, I definitely enjoyed creating content for sure. I mean, it got a bit of a chore towards the end because I was doing daily stuff, but that's a completely different conversation.
Yeah.
Any tips for working with big names? Let's say we've got somebody who's done a few little edits here, and then they get approached by somebody, and they think, "Wow, it's blowing their socks off a little bit." Any advice for that? You know, for that sort of person?
Just keep it on a level. Like, I think the most important thing is just you need to kind of just get it out of your head that they're this massively influential like person on a pedestal, and just go, right, he's just someone that I've met, that I'm working with. Hopefully, you know, might become quite close or acquaintances or work with them more and stuff. You can have those feelings in your head about, oh, I want to work with this person more, but not just because they're popular and just because you've got a bit of a fan thing going on. It's all right to be super proud of yourself and proud of being in an opportunity to meet people like that, but you've got to make sure that you keep it professional on a level, because the worst thing you want to do is go on a shoot and go, oh,
Can you be my Be Real?
Oh my God, KSI, I love you so much.
That's not what you do, Mitch. That's all.
That was at the end of the day. We built a relationship. He hooked me in the video.
But the thing is, once you get on a level with them and you have a nice conversation with them, they realize that you're a nice person to work with, and you're comfortable with them. Then you can maybe go, oh, would you mind just getting a picture? Like, I really love your work or whatever. That's completely.
It's not out of the question, is it?
It's not out of the question.
They know they're a celebrity.
Yeah.
As long as you keep it professional, they know how popular they are. So if you go and ask for a picture after you've impressed them with how professional you are, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say yes. They're not going to say no. And there's been a few times where I've gone, I definitely need to make sure I get a picture right now.
But there's a time and a place, is what you said.
But there's a time and a place. And sometimes you might go, oh, I really want a picture with this artist or whoever it is that I'm working with, but there's never been the right time. And I'll go, if I work with them again and the right time comes, cool. If it doesn't, I don't. It's not, the worst thing is to force it, because then it makes it awkward. And the last thing you want is them going to the label and go, don't get this guy and shoot again.
Yeah.
He was really weird.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most important thing. Just keep it on a level and just time things correctly.
Right. That's it.
Thank you for your time, mate. Appreciate it.
Enjoying ourselves.
Yes, it's part of the dirt now.